Welcome, everybody, to ULife's HR Morning Boost, sponsored by Bupa this season. While we wait just for everybody to land and arrive, drop in the chat for us where you are zooming in from. Tell us where you're from, because I do like a bit of a competition about where you're from. Jo, where are you based?
I'm based in St Helens, which is in between Manchester and Liverpool.
Right, okay, so we want a St Helens, and then I'm based in Chippenham, so we want a Chippenham. We want to try and get as close to me and Jo as you can. So far I can see Aberdeen, I can see Warwickshire. Tell us where you're dialing in from. Oh, another Aberdeen, two Aberdeens. Swindon. Oh my word, that's quite close to me. Westbury is also quite close to me. Okay, we're getting closer. I haven't seen one next to you yet, Jo. I'm waiting.
No.
The other day, last session I did, we had South Africa. We had
Really?
completely random. And I was like, oh my god, we're going global.
Oh, how fantastic. That's great going global. How
I know, it's
wonderful.
pretty cool, isn't it? It's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Hey, look, we've got South Africa again. Get in. That's it. I'm calling.
Wonderful. That's it. We're not going to get anyone further away than that, I would imagine.
Brilliant. I love that. I love that. So, morning, everybody. We're here today to talk with the lovely Jo Banks, who I'll properly introduce in just a sec. But we're here for ULife. ULife are the ones that are bringing us to the table every Tuesday morning for you. And what I love about ULife is I wish they existed when I was in corporate, because they basically cover all of your health stuff. So they cover health insurance, dental, group life insurance, and they offer this amazing interface that means that basically your health insurance money is being well used. So instead of just having your boring health insurance that people use when they need it, they also have this amazing app that gamifies well-being. So it basically has this awesome step counter. You can get rewards for your exercise. You can also get rewards for playing Sudoku every day. And we are very, very competitive Sudoku in the HR Geek Squad, because we all have the app. So make sure, if you haven't already, get in touch with ULife, because it is just the most awesome opportunity, and way better than just having your boring health insurance. You're better off making it fun and accessible for all of your employees, and making sure it's got proper value. So today we are talking about, I love the title of this, Dangerous Minds, when the boss is bad for your brain. But it also makes me sing the Dangerous Mind song off of the 90s. Cypher off of that
Yes.
film. But I'm very excited to have you here with us, Jo. Thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you
along.
for inviting me.
You're so well. I was saying just before we hit record that you were nominated by the Geeks, which makes it even more special for me. So thank you so much, Geeks, for nominating Jo. So I will do a little intro for you, but I think you're probably better doing it yourself. So I will do a little intro. But essentially, you help individuals and organisations reach their full potential with your unique, innovative coaching and training style. And also, I feel like we look a bit 20 as well. So I feel like we do very similar
We do.
things, and we look a bit 20.
We do.
But what I love is you're not a typical coach and trainer, and you have some unconventional methods, which I really like. So I enjoy that. It also sounds a little
you.
bit like you're like the Liam Neeson of training. I have
Bless
a
you.
very special set of skills.
Well,
Apart from my wonderful introduction,
yeah.
is there anything you'd like to add about what you do and how you do it?
Well, I had 20 years almost in HR at that
Oh,
senior
yes,
level.
I'm forgetting you're an HR bod as
So
well.
I'm an HR, got that HR background, which I think really
Love
helps
this.
with the coaching. And I set up my own coaching practice 16 years ago now.
Nice.
So I've been doing it a long time. I really focus on psychology. I'm
Yeah,
really interested in what makes people tick. And of
love
course,
this.
our topic of today, I've been researching for about 20 years now, because
Yeah,
as you know, I'd gone through a bullying experience, and I've always been fascinated in what makes people behave that way. And now I guess it's kind of a bit of something that I'm known for tackling. I
yeah,
get a lot of clients come to me have heard about me and know that I deal with bullying. And it's like we said at the beginning, people say, I think I might have been bullied, but I don't know. And it's like, if
yeah,
you think you've been bullied, you've been bullied. So this topic is
yes.
very close to my heart, very close.
Yeah, yeah. And I should also say that Jo has an amazing YouTube channel as well.
Oh,
So if you haven't already come across Jo, you'll find
yeah,
her on YouTube. She does the most amazing videos. So we've kind of started this then. We've kind of
yeah.
almost opened the door, haven't we, in terms
Mhm.
of the sneaky signs of toxic leadership. And what I have I'm imagining our audience all sat at home nodding furiously along when we talk about this. But why do people ignore it, and how can we spot it early on?
That's the problem, because we tend to think everybody behaves the same way as we do. We think everybody has respect for everybody else. Everybody would never dream of bullying other people.
Yeah,
But that's just not the case. Many times I will get people coming to me. I mentioned again earlier, in the last week, I've had 3 people come to me and say, I've heard about the work that you do. I think I've been bullied. And these people are in their 50s. They've had these
Mm,
very long careers, and they've done brilliantly in their careers, and all of a sudden they've come across this one toxic person. They don't know what's happened to them, and they start to think it's them. They doubt themselves. Is it me? What the heck's going on?
yeah.
And that's because bullies never start off big bang bullying, what I call big bang bullying. It's always quite subtle,
Yeah.
and it's quite undermining. So it's small things like putting you down. Passive aggressiveness is a big one to watch out for, because, with passive aggressiveness, if you say to somebody, oh, that's not very nice, they'll say, oh, you don't get my sense of
You
humor. But
joke. Yeah.
it's the gaslighting,
Yes.
aspect of it. So it's putting you down, it's undermining you, it's just testing the boundaries with you.
Yeah.
Because that will often happen where people just see what they can get away with. And if you're
Yeah.
not used to that behavior, you might pass it off as that's their personality. That's just how they are. But it always escalates. If you don't nip it in the bud,
Yeah.
if you don't say that behavior is not acceptable, it always escalates. And that's the big telltale. Then it can start to get worse. They'll start to bring other people in. They'll start to exclude you from
Oh,
communications.
yeah.
Yeah, we've been there, haven't we? Excluding you from important meetings, not giving you the full story. So only giving you little bits of things so that you
Yeah.
go into a meeting and you make a fool of yourself because another decision's been agreed without you knowing it.
Yeah.
So it's a slow build, but one of the biggest things I say to look out for, and it's something that I use now because, I've actually been bullied in my
Mm,
HR career, which is again why I think this is so important and I'm such a crusader for it, is
yeah.
confusion. Confusion. When you start to feel confused about someone else's behavior, the way they're treating you, the things that they're saying, confusion is the biggest red flag, I would say, for
Ooh.
this type of behavior. But
Yeah.
just to kind of go full circle on this, with this kind of toxic behavior, it doesn't start straight away. As I say, there's a kind of process that we say in narcissism. So it starts with love bombing. Oh, I think you're amazing. Look at us. Don't we get on well together? Then it moves to devaluation, and that's where you get the odd dropping in of
Yeah.
sarcasm or mean things or passive aggressiveness. Then it moves on over a period of time to full-blown kind of discard and, not inviting you, being really mean and cruel. And then when you start to turn and start to think, I'm going to do something about this, then they hoover you back in. So
Yes.
it is a full cycle. And it's definitely one to watch out for, because there's a lot of covert narcissism out there. There's a lot of
Mm.
covert bullying. So it might be happening to you on the side that other people don't see, and that's the worst bit of it.
Yeah, and it's interesting, as you said about confusion. That's not. I've not heard that in the context of bullying before. But as soon as you said that, I had a proper oof moment. So I was like, "Oh my god, that is exactly what I experienced." And that is that. Oh my word, that's just been a massive light bulb for me completely.
Yeah.
Someone in the chat has also put it's insidious, and I
It is
completely get that. It's the
insidious.
right word, isn't it? Yeah, I love
And
that.
I say that very frequently. It's absolutely insidious, because the thing is as well with these people, they're highly manipulative.
Yeah.
There are some that don't care at all, and that's more on the kind of psychopathy. And people laugh when I say that. I'm like,
No.
these
Yeah.
people walk among us. They're not just serial killers. They walk
Yes.
among us.
Yeah.
And it is insidious, but they are very manipulative. And
Mm.
often they will do it behind closed doors.
Yeah.
They won't do it in front of everyone. Of course, when they get a bit bolder, they might.
Yeah.
That's why it's really hard as well for other people to get it. What, Bob? He's amazing. What, Bob? No.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
Surely
thing.
not Bob. Yeah, no, I
Surely not
totally get
Bob.
that.
And so it's kind of ignored, or the person is then also made to feel like they're the problem, and that's
Yes.
something that we call Darvo. It's kind
Ooh.
of reverse
Yeah.
effect. So they turn the tables on you and look like you are the persecutor, you are the person that's
Got it.
going against them.
Yeah.
It's very manipulative and it's very
Yeah, it really is.
yeah.
So one of the things we've talked about on previous sessions, in fact, my last one was with Kelly Swingle and burnout. So I guess the
Yeah,
connection I'm making between the two
big.
sessions is what happens. I mean, I know what happened with me, but what happens to our brains and mental health when we have this like long-term exposure to toxic leadership?
Well, you've heard of the fight, flight, freeze stress response. We've all heard about that, but not many people really realize what that looks like. It's not bopping someone on the nose, running away, or hiding under your desk. It's something far more tangible than that. We don't tend to do those things. But over the long term, what happens is when we keep triggering our fight, flight, freeze, so every time this person is mean or cruel or nasty to us, every time we feel like we're walking on eggshells, we're triggering our nervous system. We're triggering
Mm,
our fight, flight, freeze. And what happens when we're in fight, flight, freeze is our prefrontal cortex, which is the part of the brain that's responsible for critical thinking, analytical thinking, decision making, that literally goes offline. So we can't access our critical thinking, and we're all
mm,
in our amygdala, which is our fight, flight, freeze, all our emotions. So over time, if we're continually kicking off this fight, flight, freeze stress response, we become what we call hypervigilant.
mm.
So we kind of stay stuck on high alert. We can't think straight. And often we go into freeze mode, and that can turn into functional freeze. So let me explain that. And I've got videos on all of this on my YouTube channel. But with functional freeze, the way I describe it is the lights are on, but no one's home. So you can function, you can get up, you can get through your day, but that's it. You might sleep a lot, but no matter how much sleep you get, you're still exhausted.
Yeah, yeah,
You can't think straight. You're forgetful. You're foggy, and you just cannot function other than the basic things that you have to do. And over time, that really suppresses our immune system. It makes us really quite ill because you're triggering off stress response hormones, adrenaline and cortisol all day long, and we're staying stuck in hypervigilance. And we know through research and science that when you are in that mode, even neutral faces look threatening.
yeah,
So it's, not dealing with it early on, not nipping it in the bud when you have those sarcastic comments, not standing up for yourself, which is easy done. You and I have,
yeah,
have both done that, kind of gives that person permission to carry on treating you that way.
yeah,
You then, the more they trigger you, the more your nervous system becomes triggered, you are in that fight, flight, freeze. And your fight, flight, freeze was only meant to trigger off 15 minutes worth of strength and energy to get away from
yeah,
the saber-tooth tiger, but we're kicking it off all day long.
yeah, yeah.
And that's how over time you then move into burnout.
Yes. Yeah. And that makes complete sense, especially now I'm a human that's ended up with a load of autoimmune conditions. And it was
Yeah.
only when I kind of had therapy and was reflecting back on all these things that had happened, one of which was burnout, but one of which was a series of kind of bullying
Yes.
experiences, suddenly made me realize, oh my God, like my mind and body are completely connected because I'd been living in this
They are.
hypervigilant space. And
Mm.
it meant that I was constantly, my like nerves were constantly on fire because I was
Yeah.
constantly like looking for the saber-tooth tiger. So yeah, I completely get
That's
that.
it. That's it,
Yeah.
exactly. It really, the way we describe it is your nervous system becomes dysregulated, and over time you
Yes.
get, the one thing that I see in a lot of my clients is the autoimmune
Yeah.
issues,
Yes.
also migraines,
Yeah.
and a lot of stomach issues.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
IBS, up the whole gamut, because
Yeah.
they're all connected to your nervous system.
Yes.
So, you can get quite chronically ill because we know from cortisol, which every time you feel that blah, however you feel it,
Yeah.
it's you triggering off fight, flight, freeze hormones for you to
Yeah.
deal with the saber-tooth tiger. But actually, cortisol, we know, causes inflammation in the body. causes inflammation. So that's where we left untreated and not dealing with our stress and dealing with the situation can cause those longer term health issues. So it really is a thing. And, you know, I know when I went through my bullying experience, I lost 2 stone. I was 7 stone and I'm 5'5" because I
Oh,
couldn't eat
yeah.
because my nervous system was so on edge. And why you know, your nervous system isn't going to let you eat, or you're going to eat too much.
Yes.
You
Yeah, I
know,
mean, I definitely found your lost 2 stone.
it was just crazy. Everything hurt. I
Yeah.
was so skinny.
Oh
It
my
was
God,
not
yeah,
pleasant. It was not
yeah.
pleasant. Can have big, big issues left untreated or undealt.
Yes,
And again,
unaddressed, yeah.
unaddressed, that's the word. If nobody tells us about this stuff, we don't know about it because we think
Yeah.
everybody is
Yes.
generally are good people. They're not.
Yeah. Oh, this is just what work's like, right? This is just what work's
That's
like,
it.
so
And
you
but
just have
there
to
is
cope.
one thing I want to say to if there is anybody going through this, is bullies build themselves up by putting other people down.
Mm,
All bullies have low self-esteem, low self-worth, and they build themselves up by putting other people down. I think if I'd have known that when I was going through my experience, that this person is threatened by me,
yes.
that would have really helped. So I think that's really important to get out. If you are being bullied, typically it's because that person is
Yeah.
very insecure, and they build themselves up by putting you down.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. That's a really good
Just
point,
get
actually.
that
And like you
bit.
say, there's a bit of cold comfort, isn't there, in that?
Yeah,
Something where
there
you're like,
is a little
actually,
bit. I
yeah,
mean, it's hard to see at the time. Why would anybody be jealous of me? Why would anybody be envious? Or why? Well, I'm nothing special. But oh yeah, you
yeah,
are. Yes,
yeah,
you are. So I
yeah,
think that's really important to point out at some point. Well, we
yeah.
haven't
No, I
said it now,
completely
but
agree.
it's important to say.
I've
Yeah.
got to read you a comment from the chat because it's so lovely.
Yeah.
Carol in the chat has said, I found Jo when I didn't know I needed her. It was a light bulb moment. I've changed jobs since then and enjoying a normal work life. I love that.
That makes
That's
it
so
all
nice,
it does
doesn't
make
it?
it all worthwhile.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it
And that's
really
why I
does.
do it, because it's not easy doing the
No,
YouTube stuff on top
no,
of a full-blown business
yeah,
and day job.
yeah,
But it's things like that where you know you're actually helping people. Thank you.
exactly. Isn't that lovely?
It
Thanks,
is.
Carol.
Yes, big
Um,
heart.
So, so if we think about then how we can start to address this kind of stuff, I'm imagining that a large proportion of our audience are HR people. So, if we think about it from an HR or even a leadership context, actually, so how can we like spot and address that toxic leadership early before it becomes like this big kind of mess, meltdown, horrible space for people in the organization?
The thing is, the biggest thing I would say is believe people.
Yes.
Believe them, you know, because one of the biggest bits of feedback that I get from people who've been going through bullying is that HR didn't believe me, or
Yes.
HR are on their side and HR did nothing about it. And that unfortunately is is frequently the case, whether
Yeah.
it's they don't know what to do, whether they're told not to do anything. But I do find that HR often drag their feet on this one because they don't know how to deal with it. I
Yeah.
trained over 1,000 people, 1,000 HR people on narcissism in the workplace to try and, you know, and all of that training really is on my YouTube channel. So people
Mm,
can, it's like a 4-part training, so they can go away and look at that. It's free. But
brilliant.
it's it's believing people. Just because Bob is lovely to you and you can't imagine it,
Yeah.
so it's the normal thing that we would ask for people to do is, and I would say this to anybody who themselves might be going through bullying at the moment, is you've got to record what's happening to you. Dates,
Yeah.
times, incidences, witnesses, texts, emails, every single small thing you need to log. So if you're going through it, that's what you need to do. If somebody comes to you that might be going through it, you need that. And I say
Yeah.
it frequently, if you haven't got that evidence, there's little you can do about it. So
Yeah.
it's getting people to write that evidence down, and it's believing them. It's
Yeah.
dealing with it swiftly and not just thinking, "Oh, I think he's all right. I think he's a lovely bloke." Believe people, because trust me, people do not raise this kind of issue
Yeah.
without them already having gone through quite a bit of trauma, because we just
Yes.
tend to think, oh, it's me, it's this, it's that. And we don't want to raise it. We don't want to make a fuss. And the other thing is, and this is one of the questions that came up when I did the training for the HR community, was, often these people are big decision makers. They are
Yes.
big revenue generators. And more senior managers don't want to do anything about it because they're bringing the money in.
Yeah.
And that's an issue. My reverse on that would be, but you're going to be losing more and more and more people because your good people are not going to hang around for that type of behavior. So
Yeah.
you've got to look longer term to say, yeah, you might have to let Bob go because he's bullying people, but he might be a big earner. But actually, if he's gone, everyone else will step up and you'll have a happier workforce. But that
I
is
think that's such a
really
great
common.
point.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
really
we
common.
used to talk about when I was in corporate, we'd talk about Suarez behavior. So someone who scored a lot of goals but bit people because Luis
Yeah.
Suarez was a biter on the field. And that was always my example when I saw like inappropriate or unhelpful behavior in the organization. Was, are you being a bit of a Suarez here? What's happening here? And it kind of changed people's thinking in terms of their behaviors and their actions that they took. But yeah, I completely get it.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of perhaps more organizational side or more like current scenario side. What do you think in terms of kind of strategies that people can use, at the coal face, if you like, when they're dealing with a toxic boss in order to kind of protect themselves and still being able to do their job? So what strategies can we deploy if we're the person in that space?
It is definitely whenever you see behavior that you don't like, and it's very difficult, I get that, especially if that person is your boss, it's calling it out.
Mm.
I've got a video coming up on comebacks to,
Ooh.
yeah, I think I've got about 20, 30 comebacks for when somebody is mistreating you. There's a really specific one that is if somebody is mean to you, passive aggressive, gaslighty, don't respond for 5 seconds. Just look at them for 5 seconds, saying nothing. It's hard, and just say, interesting. Do you want to say that again? So it's that kind of thing. It's calling
Yeah.
out, because if you don't call it out, they're going to carry on. So it's really, really important. And I know it's hard to do, especially if you're not a confrontational person,
Mm.
but it will not get better, and expecting it to, it's not.
Yeah.
Log all of the things that are happening and log them early, even just for your own, because your own kind of sense of self, because
Yeah.
often these people are going to gaslight you. If you do say you said this, I never said that.
Yeah.
So, and that's the same also in your personal life as well. If you have somebody gaslighting you, and gaslighting is where somebody denies what you're saying or says, oh, I was only joking. That's you don't get me. That's gaslighting. Keep recording those things, keep diary notes. That's what I did. I don't know whether you did this, Michelle, but when I was going
Mm.
through my bullying experience, it went on kind of 2 years, way too long. But
Yeah.
in the end, I was making very detailed notes of every single interaction I had with that person. And it was
Yeah.
quite a telling. I couldn't then ignore it either.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point actually. If you capture it all yourself, you suddenly start to see the volume of incidents that you then have to address it, don't you? Because you're suddenly, oh, actually, this isn't just a quick comment in the cafeteria. This is big. This is a lot.
And
Yeah, that's really
also,
interesting.
when you start to write it down, you start to see it in black and white. You can't then say to yourself, oh, it must be me,
Yes.
because that's what they want you to believe. That's the gaslighting, and that's that reverse victim offender. That's them getting defensive and reversing it as if you are the person that's persecuting them, because they're
Yeah.
highly, highly manipulative. Nobody bullies other people that aren't
Yeah.
highly manipulative. So for your own sense of self and for your own sanity, write those things down. And I would also try and nip it in the bud as much as you can, because often when you challenge a bully, they will stop, because that's what they're looking
Yeah.
for. They're looking for people that they can bully. And if you don't allow that, then that's helpful. And then sooner rather than later, raise it as an issue, because
Yeah.
I know the devastating effect it can have on people. if you are being bullied over a long period of time. I've
Yeah.
dealt with it myself, as have you, and a lot of my clients have dealt with it as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really interesting. And someone in the chat has put, I love the pausing. I don't know where I got 7 seconds from, but it's satisfying to see them tie themselves in knots
Yeah.
while I reset my inner peace. So yeah, I like that a
Yes,
lot. Yeah.
that's it. Absolutely.
She
Absolutely.
also ended that comment with Joe Banks, you rock, by the way.
Well, thank you very much.
Had to
I
gift you
do
that
love
one as
that.
well.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really hard, isn't it? The whole writing it down thing. And I have told people to do that very thing, like capture all the incidents, make sure you've got all your notes together.
Mhm.
But for me, when I was going through it, I think I'd got myself, or not, I hadn't got myself into that position. They had got me into a position where I genuinely had thought it was something wrong
Yeah.
with me. And one of the things I noticed in myself was I was constantly, my phrase I use is flip flopping, but I was constantly trying lots of different like ways of reacting to them, ways of interacting with them, ways to approach them. Like I was exhausted just from trying to fashion like a way of being able to have a conversation with them. And I think that's really hard. Like that's a really tough thing to try and like get your head around. And I guess that's where you're talking about the nipping it in the bud thing. So you
Yeah.
don't end up doing that like
Yeah.
constant flip flopping.
And sometimes, this is quite unpopular. Sometimes I'm going to say this.
We love this here, Joe.
Sometimes you've just got to leave and leave
Yes.
sooner rather than later. Because I
Yes.
wish I had, because there was no way I was going to rectify that situation. No
Yeah.
way. Even trying to nip it in the bud wouldn't have made any difference.
Yeah.
But I stayed. I stayed way too long, and it really affected me for years
Yeah.
afterwards. I know a lot more now, and that's the kind of stuff I help transition people through. But leave sooner rather than later,
Yeah.
because the longer you stay hoping things will change, hoping things will get better, they never get better with these types of people. So sometimes for our own sanity, it's better to leave, and you're leaving much more with you intact than you
Yes.
are being attacked every day.
Yeah. I completely get that. And do you know what? I think when I think back to a number of my different roles, all in HR, but a number of my different roles where I'd felt like that was happening, I did just leave. And
Yeah.
I think actually when I reflect on that now, that was the solution because I couldn't see a way out of it. And I think sometimes when you're in an HR role, that's half the battle, right? Because I'm the one that people come to. I'm not the one that experiences this. I'm the one that deals with it. Like, and that made it so difficult for me. So yeah, I think that's a really good point is don't forget the exit is always
That's it. Because some people say, well, why should I have to leave? Well,
yeah,
all I can give you is what I've seen. You don't have to leave. But sometimes for your sanity, for your self-worth,
yeah,
your long-term mental health and physical health, because it's all connected,
yeah,
then you do have to leave. And that's unfortunate, but go, like I saw somebody's comment earlier, know your worth. You are worth way more than this. For some
yeah,
little person who has got self-esteem issues to put you down, no, you're worth more than that.
yeah.
Way more.
Yeah, I love that. That is brilliant. I love that so much. I've just seen a comment from Deborah in the chat. I've got to read it out. This is funny. I'm really good at my job, but I'm terrible at fixing stupid is my favourite phrase.
Yeah,
I
that's
love that.
it. It's hard, and in HR, it is a thankless task, isn't it?
Yeah,
Sometimes,
yeah,
and you really do need the buy-in from people above you. You know,
yeah,
um, it's a tough one. It's a tough one.
yeah,
Stuck in
it
the middle.
is. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
I can't believe the time's gone already. I don't know how that's happened. It's literally like poofed away. That I honestly have loved this conversation, and I know from the chat that everybody else has loved it too.
Wow.
Thank you so much. I feel like I've just got so much like knowledge in my head now that I want to go and lurk on your YouTube and fill up my brain with more. Thank you. It has been absolutely wonderful. And for our guests, you can find Jo on YouTube and also on LinkedIn. Please go and lurk her stuff because she's absolutely amazing. And also, please go and lurk ULife because if you want to find a way to spend your insurance much more sensibly, then you can do that with ULife and their awesome wellness app. So thank you very much. And I'll be seeing you next week. Is Emma Jamil doing a session? So you'll be able to see Emma next week and I'll see you the week after. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Jo.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.